So this is mix free and this is Mix 02 from Rebel Technology. Now Mix 03 is a 4-channel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 input, 1 output mixer that's clean, great audio path, great for CV as well, a very clean, silent, bleed-free mixer, really high quality. Mix 02 is a 4-channel mixer that offers panning. So we have our 4 inputs, a left and a right output, headphone out, it's always useful, and a pan. Now later on we'll use 2 patches where we can see the 4 inputs for audio and panning, as you'd expect, stereo audio, but also CV, where you can, say, blend envelopes that will affect, say we had an envelope on channel 1, just the left output, or just the right output, or any blend of both. It kind of gives a crossfader style feel to your CV inputs, and you could mix sample and holds, LFOs, envelopes, and route them freely to the left and right outputs for more creative routing of your CV. What I should mention is there's also a Mix 01 module, which I'll put an image up on screen. All of these mixers have a busing system around the back, and I'll put up an image from the manuals and the site now. We have the 5i and 5o, so 5-pin input, 5-pin output. I'll put little boxes around these on the images, and also 3-pin connectors, again a 3i and a 3o. 3 input, 3 output. So this means I can normal these inputs across, we can mix across and build a mixing environment that will be as big as we want, we can mix and chain outputs, we can sum audio. It's a great way of building a custom mixer that can grow and expand as your system does. And with the quality of this, again, Mix 02 like free, bleed free, great clean path for the mixing, audio and CV, it's fantastic. Let's get into a couple of patches to show these off. So to kick things off, I thought, why not go with some frantic audio beats? Why not? I'm using the normaling function between the Mix 3 and the Mix 2. They're mixing audio, but let's just check out the Mix 3 first and what's actually coming into these mixers. Just turn everything down. And I'm going to remove my output and take the output of the Mix 3 straight into my interface. On the top channel, I have my synth line. Notice how silent and bleed free this is. A really clean, great mixer. Simple cowbell, cymbally ride type thing. A mix of drums on channel 3. And some modulated drums on 4. So we can quickly get an audio mix going on Mix 03. And it's great for audio. But what I'm taking advantage of here, just remove the output entirely, is the normaling around the back that I described, this audio bus. So these are coming into Mix 02, these 4 inputs into these 4 channels as well. So again, melody on top. But as I'm coming out of left right, we can pan this as well. The ride. It's really nice smooth panning. Drums. And the modulated drum line as well. Let's just get a mix of all that going on Mix 02. But because these inputs are normaled, and I can break these with the jacks, if I actually just plug in, let's say remove my main drums. You can hear me tap the cable, but it removes it. The normaling from there to there goes when we plug anything else in. But, and I'll just mute that channel for a second, I can use this as an alternate mix. So I have my stereo mix, this one we just listened to. Make sure you're listening in stereo, by the way. But I also have an effects chain set up. So if I take my output from mix 03, I can have an entirely separate mix that I treat like a send. A mix of each one of these to my effects. Just turn those on. So let's just get a reverb mix. And then bring in and unmute the stereo mix from mix 2. It allows this two-way mixing. I could take the kind of synth riff, which I should say is from Tonic, and fire in Euclidean circles into this to create sequences. Tonic's great, you want to check that out as well. But I could remove the melody from the dry mix, cowbell and the drums, but maybe put the drums up in the mix 3. That's just coming out of mix 3 into my effects chain. So this mix bus between them and the Mix 01 is worth checking out as well. I'll put an image on screen. It's a really great high-end mixing solution from Rebel Technology. So let's check these out, throwing in some CV. So you can use the Mix 03 for CV as well. And it's great, 4 CV ins, 1 output. We can also use Mix 02 for CV. So again, make sure you're listening stereo. Have 1 sound panned left, which is just a saw wave through a low pass filter, and another sound panned right with the oscillator tuned up, and this is just a low pass into a filter again. I'll sweep them one by one. And you can hear they're going into some reverb. Now, even though this is panning, we can treat this as a sort of blend to route to A or B, and kind of look at it as not really a matrix mixer, but a sort of 2 output mixer for routing CV. I have 2 envelopes. The top one is this green trace on the Mordax data to channel 1, blue trace to channel 2, green and blue traces, I even match the cables. The third channel is a 16th note per step in my sort of sequence, random sample and hold, and a longer every 4 beat sample and hold on channel 4. So let's just start by turning up this first envelope. That routes to both sides. I have the left output going to the cutoff of one filter, that one, and the right side going to the CV input for the cutoff of the other filter. So we can use that panning as a way of routing signals. Let's try the second envelope. So we could simply route the 2 different envelopes entirely to the 2 different filters. But let's say we don't want that hard panning. Maybe this top envelope wants to open one more than the other, but not, it does want to blend across a little bit. Now maybe this next one wants to go the other way. A bit more to the right side, but not entirely. Which is different to just routing them entirely to the separate filters like this. So listen. More of a kind of gallopy overlap between the envelopes. Now the sample and hold on channel 3. Maybe we just want to blend that into one side. Or just a little bit into both in the center panning position. I have a longer running sample and hold. And again, we could offset these against each other left and right to route to the different filters entirely. Or maybe just a bit to one side. And then we add a bit of this one, again up to a little bit to the left, but mainly to the right output. Can bring the envelopes back in. So just as a CV routing device, it's just as good as it is an audio mixer. Be sure to go check out this mix series. Again, here's a picture of the Mix 01 on screen. Check out Tonic as well. That's a really cool way of creating melodies from gates or triggers. Thanks for watching. Hit like or subscribe. Go support me on Patreon if you want extra content. Cheers.